The first time I changed my Wi-Fi name to HOA president is a crook. I figured the worst that could happen was another one of those $150 fines Brenda Kowalski loved to drop in my mailbox, or maybe a letter scolding me about my unauthorized wind chimes. Boy, was I wrong. Not just wrong, dead wrong. Within an hour, she was pounding on my door, cheeks so red I thought she might combust, demanding I change it immediately. By lunchtime, she called 911 and reported me for cyberbullying. Within a week, she was threatening foreclosure over violations she basically invented out of thin air. That's when it hit me. Normal people don't call the cops over Wi-Fi names. They don't threaten to steal your house over garden decorations. Brenda, she was hiding something, and my little Wi-Fi joke was about to blow her whole scheme wide open. So let me ask you, if you knew a Wi-Fi name could shake up your entire street, what would you pick? Seriously, drop your wildest ideas in your city below. I read every single one. My name's Marcus Chen, and just 3 months ago, I thought HOA nightmares were stuff you read on Reddit, you know, stories about people measuring fences with a telescope or calling the city because of dandelions. I was 34, freshly divorced, just bought my first house in Saguaro Springs, a sleepy Phoenix suburb where, honestly, the biggest drama was supposed to be about Christmas lights left up till Valentine's. My moving boxes echoed in the empty house for weeks, and I swear that cardboard dust made me sneeze like I was allergic to my own fresh start. Still, after 2 months on my buddy's couch, even a quiet house felt like heaven. Saguaro Springs looked perfect on paper. 847 homes, built back when people still thought HOAs meant helping neighbors, not funding someone's power trip. Dues were $150 a month for landscaping, pool maintenance, and neighborhood security, whatever that was. Nobody warned me that Brenda ruled this place like a queen, with a ruler, literally, in her purse to check grass heights. She was 60, president 6 years running, drove a white Lexus with a plate that read, hobos, and her lawn looked like astroturf. I heard she timed sprinklers with a stopwatch. Week 3, I got my welcome present, a $75 fine for unauthorized exterior modification. My crime? Wind chimes on my covered patio, barely visible from the street, let alone Mars. It was typed up all official-like, Brenda's signature and a note. Welcome to the neighborhood. We expect all residents to respect our rules. I took them down, paid up. $75 felt easier than declaring war in month 1. Turns out appeasing bullies never works. Month 2, $100 fine for putting my trash can out 30 minutes early. 30 minutes. There was a time-stamped photo, 6:47 a.m., because apparently Brenda patrolled the streets before anyone had coffee. Month 3, excessive noise disturbance for strumming my acoustic guitar indoors at 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday. My big crime against humanity. That's when I started noticing the neighborhood bulletin boards, always Brenda's face, all business suit and fake smile, next to signs reading, "Your HOA team works for you." Funny thing, I'd never met this team. Just Brenda. Always Brenda. But what truly snapped me out of let's just keep the peace mode was Mrs. Rodriguez, my 72-year-old neighbor, sobbing on her lawn with another violation in her trembling hands. $200 for a dead plant. You want to know what the dead plant was? A brown spot, quarter-sized, on an otherwise perfect rose bush. She lived on Social Security, was begging neighbors for advice. Should she just rip her whole garden out? The way her voice cracked. I just don't understand what I did wrong. Man, it made something snap in me. That night, I dove into HOA forums and public records. The pattern was obvious. Brenda issued 40% more fines than any president before her. Meeting attendance plummeted because people were flat-out terrified. This wasn't community standards. This was an insurance agent turned thief, treating us like her private ATM. So yeah, that's when I changed my Wi-Fi name. 3 days after Mrs. Rodriguez's rose bush meltdown, I logged into my router and swapped Chun Home for HOA president is a crook. 2 hours later, my doorbell rang like the house was on fire. Brenda stood there in her battle suit, clutching a manila folder thick enough to choke a horse, perfume so strong I nearly blacked out. "Mr. Chun," she hissed, "we need to discuss your inappropriate Wi-Fi network name." I smiled. Inappropriate how? It's only visible to folks in range, and last I checked, free speech was still a thing. Her left eye started twitching. You're defaming my character, creating a hostile environment. Change it in 24 hours, or there will be consequences. I took a deep breath, looked her dead in the eye, and said, Actually, Brenda, I think I'll keep it as it is. She went pale, then red, then stormed off, muttering about millennials and legal action. That's when I decided, no more rolling over. I started tracking everything. Every fine, every letter, every weird incident, built a spreadsheet, mapped it out. Guess what? Brenda's friends never got fined. Her neighbor kept a boat in the driveway for 3 weeks, not a peep. But Mrs. Martinez got dinged $125 for a hose in her backyard. Brenda's son, Danny, ran a landscaping business. His work truck was parked at her place every Tuesday and Thursday, clear violation, but not a word. I'd been fined $150 for a plumber's van parked at mine for 6 hours. I remembered Arizona law requires HOAs to enforce rules uniformly. Selective enforcement can actually invalidate fines and open up lawsuits. That was my ace. By Thursday, my Wi-Fi rebellion was catching on. 3 neighbors changed their network names to things like, Ask Brenda about double standards, and Where is our money going? Friday, Brenda called an emergency HOA meeting to address harassment against community leadership. She accused me of defamation and cyberbullying, tried to slap a $500 fine on me for bringing the HOA into disrepute. You ever heard of a $500 Wi-Fi name? Me neither. Normally, HOA meetings drew maybe 8 people. This time, 43 showed up, record numbers, and they were pissed. Brenda banged her gavel like Thor, trying to control the room, but then Mrs. Rodriguez stood up, voice trembling but strong. Brenda, maybe if you weren't such a crook, people wouldn't call you one. The whole room erupted. Stories came pouring out about bogus fines, harassment, American flags too wide, sidewalk chalk art getting ticketed. Brenda lost control. She tried to postpone the meeting, stormed out with one last threat. They have no idea what they're messing with. The following Tuesday, I got home from a camping trip to find my driveway empty. Car gone, not stolen, towed. A bright orange notice on my garage. Emergency vehicle removal. Contact Rees, towing for release. Fee: $425. My crime: a temporary registration, which was legal, clearly visible, just waiting for the DMV. But Rees Towing, run by Brenda's brother, had the HOA towing contract with incidents up 340% since Brenda's re-election and rates 30% higher than the old company. So, I canvassed the neighborhood. Story after story. Elderly Mr. Patterson towed for parking, too close to the sidewalk. Young couple's car gone while the wife was in labor. Single moms fined for strollers left outside. It was endless. I started a petition to review Brenda's towing authority. Needed 212 signatures. Figured it'd take weeks. Got 150 in 5 days. People were practically begging to sign. Retired teacher Linda Morrison started making copies. Marine vet Steve Bradley canvassed the streets. Brenda responded with her own petition. Stop harassment of volunteer board members. Painted me as a disgruntled divorced man targeting strong women. Then, a twist. An anonymous envelope arrived, full of invoices showing the HOA paying Brenda's insurance company for property management consulting, the same services our management company already provided. With a shaky handwritten note, check the books. She's been double billing for 3 years. I was still debating what to do when Brenda called the cops on me for harassment. The officers, to their credit, took one look at my documentation, photos, spreadsheets, proof of selective enforcement, and suggested I file a complaint with the state. Brenda, meanwhile, had a meltdown right there on my porch, protesting her innocence so hard it made her look guiltier. Her hands trembled, her voice shot up about 3 octaves. Honestly, it was better than cable TV. I filed a complaint with the Arizona Department of Real Estate, sent in every scrap of evidence I had, and within days, they'd frozen the HOA accounts and sent in an investigator. Sandra Williams, no-nonsense, briefcase in hand, who looked like she'd rather be solving financial crimes than doing anything else. She laid out the findings on my kitchen table. 3 bank accounts instead of 1, $47,000 in landscaping, special projects, mostly paid to Brenda's shell company, $23,000 to Ree's Towing for security consultation, and nearly $90,000 in insurance premiums to Brenda's own business. Grand total, over $150,000 siphoned away. Federal territory, Sandra explained. This is felony embezzlement, RICO, and wire fraud. I mean, my Wi-Fi joke had triggered a federal investigation. News spread fast. Residents packed the next community meeting. People were furious. Attorney Jennifer Walsh offered to take the case pro bono and outlined a plan: criminal prosecution, civil recovery, and governance reform. Janet Morrison, terrified for years, volunteered to head the evidence team. Steve Bradley sorted the paper trail. Linda set up private communication channels. We had a real community movement. Then, another twist, Brenda's own son, Danny, showed up at my door. He couldn't sleep, confessed to submitting fake invoices under pressure, afraid she'd ruin his business if he said no. His receipts, actual versus billed, sealed the deal. We coordinated with the media, lined up the Attorney General, prepared for the big showdown. Brenda, cornered, tried to launch a last-ditch PR campaign, glossy flyers, crisis management firms, even a website about how I was a bitter, sexist man destroying strong women. She left anonymous voicemails, cracked my windshield, distributed threatening letters. Private investigator Rick Santos showed me a dossier Brenda'd ordered up on me, contacting my ex-wife, my boss, even Mrs. Rodriguez, who called to tell me Brenda offered her $500 to lie about me. That was the final straw. Witness tampering, a federal crime. The day before our meeting, Brenda filed an emergency restraining order to keep me from attending, citing cyberbullying, surveillance, potential for violence. At the hearing, Judge Martinez took one look at the evidence, then tore her case to pieces. This petition is denied. MS. Kowalski, you'll pay Mr. Chen's attorney fees for this frivolous action. Brenda's meltdown outside the courthouse was caught by the Channel 12 news crew. Her screaming rant went viral before dinner. By 6 p.m., the entire city was watching. That night, nearly 500 neighbors packed the community center, overflow crowd out the doors, local news vans everywhere. I stood up, laid out the story, my Wi-Fi joke, the retaliation, the investigation, the proof. Sandra presented the evidence. $152,000 stolen, 3 bank accounts, shell companies, the whole rotten scheme. Jennifer Walsh announced the charges: embezzlement, racketeering, wire fraud, and witness tampering. The place erupted. But the knockout punch? Mrs. Rodriguez, little old Mrs. Rodriguez, walked to the front, trembling but fierce. Yesterday you offered me $500 to lie about Marcus. That's when you stopped being just a thief and became something truly evil. The silence was absolute. Then Arizona's Attorney General, flanked by 2 agents, stepped forward. Brenda Kowalski, you're under arrest for felony embezzlement, racketeering, and wire fraud. The click of handcuffs in that silent room. Music. Brenda's empire collapsed overnight. She pled guilty, took an 18-year federal sentence, lost everything: her house, business, and her dignity. We recovered $265,000, built a playground with the funds, hired a legitimate landscaping company, cut dues by a third, and made our HOA a state model for transparency. My little Wi-Fi rebellion launched investigations in 23 other HOAs, inspired a new state law, and believe it or not, I'm now a consultant on HOA reform. You want to know what my Wi-Fi name is now? Community Strong 2024. The local coffee shop sells an HOA Hero Latte. Every night I listen to those same wind chimes, no longer a violation, singing in the desert breeze. They sound just like freedom. So tell me, if a Wi-Fi name could spark a revolution on your street, what would yours be? Drop your dream network below. And if you've got your own HOA horror story, share it. Let's shine a light on these suburban tyrants, because somewhere, another Brenda is out there with a ruler and a grudge, and another Marcus is ready to log in and fight back. The revolution's just getting started.